Ladies and gentlemen, the Montgomery High School faculty.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to welcome the class of 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. It is my pleasure to introduce the president for the class of 2019, Larissa Jimenez Cadajo.
Thank you, Mrs. Green. I remember just 3 short years ago, standing in those bleachers, and now we're here. So good evening to our family, friends, teachers, administrators, and to the entire community of Montgomery, and welcome to the Class of 2019 commencement ceremony. For the new faces in the crowd wondering who I am, my name is Larissa Jimenez, and I am honored and humbled to be Class of 2019 president. Wow, graduation. None of this sunk in until I deleted Kahoot, Quizlet, GradeCheck, and my VPN off my phone last week. Before I begin, I must ask, who decided that this rite of passage, the culmination of our 12 years of sleep deprivation, merciless classroom instruction, legal torture, signing out to go to the bathroom, using Find Me printing, failing to use our lockers or study halls wisely, checking Genesis, going to Staples for supplies, or asking mom to, eating unhealthy lunch food, and thanking the heavens for PTSA ice cream days would be called commencement, a start. High school. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. We made it all the way to senior year, through senior sunrise and college apps, winning Powder Puff not once, twice, yep, and sending pink slips, homecoming, the winter wonderland, pep rallies, Disney, spring break, decision day, weekend jobs, prom house, senior barbecue, dinner dance, sunset, and now just this morning, breakfast. So why is this called commencement if it feels so much like an end? The truth is, we are at a crossroads, a turning point. We have the past 18 years of our lives to be grateful for, reflect on, and dwell on, but we also have an opportunity in front of us. We spent 18 years filling up our tanks, packing the trunk, and now we're ready to hit the road. I say we're ready to hit the road because driving, in my opinion, is one of the most relatable analogies for life. We could say we're architects constructing our futures, but playing Legos doesn't quite cut it. We could say we're chefs following a recipe, but that seems like a bit of a stretch since all of our knowledge of food is from tasty videos and Remy Weisblatt's blog. That's right. In a town dominated by the long stretch of 206, we are all, or will be, drivers. One of the hallmarks of driving is the American highway system, throwback to APUSH. In 1956, Eisenhower created the Interstate Highway System to connect Americans from coast to coast and allow middle-class families to visit other parts of the country. The result? Freedom and adventure, a redefined American dream. The ability to visit national parks, urban development, and expansion in mobility, and believe it or not, improved air quality. Here's the complexity. Not only were there all these great things, there was also the onset of littering and pollution, greater consumption of fast food, more and more consumerism, and the creation of the Green Book, which highlighted the pervasiveness of segregation. However, from the creation of the highway comes the greatest line in film score history: life is a highway. From Lightning McQueen and the peak of cinematic metaphors, we can draw 3 lessons: to be conscious, to be present, and to be grateful. To be conscious. With driving, just like in life, we will face new roads, new obstacles. Everything we have ever known will disintegrate from under our feet. In this sense, this is not an end, but a beautiful beginning. There is beauty in this pain, so we need to be conscious of life's complexity. And while we were all metaphorically on the same highway, we will all take very different routes. Just this year, 2 veterans of war, 195 and 185, are graduating from high school with us. With that said, please. With that said, we all have our own timeline, and no 2 will be the same. Not everything is rainbows and ponies and butterfly emojis, though. There are drivers texting, dangerous curves, and steep inclines. Like Soulja Boy, we either crank life or it cranks us. We are in control, but sometimes we're not. We need to be conscious about our choices and our reactions, make good ones. To be present. It's essential to stop for gas on this highway and smell the roses. Just as big neon lights and billboards lining the highway are set up as distractions to lure in consumers, we will be bombarded with different ways of thinking and lifestyles and beliefs and viewpoints, and we need to be able to digest them all, develop our own thoughts, and avoid regurgitation. Just like green eggs and ham taught us, or was it Aristotle, we have to be open to entertaining new ideas. This grand highway of life will take us in many unexpected turns. Sometimes we'll have a GPS, sometimes we won't. But the ride isn't worthwhile if you don't take the scenic route sometimes and stop to be present and meet, respect, and learn from the people you meet along the way. Remember that no matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you are, how you treat other people ultimately tells all. If there is anything, and I mean anything, that you do after graduation, let it be to respect others. Have you looked around to the people sitting next to you here today? At Abby, whose praise for Nicki Minaj will remain unmatched? At Annalyn and Ananya, whose advocacy inspires us? At Nicole, whose skincare blog has helped us all look our best? At Ivan, whose app has made us love the color green irrationally? It's true. At Sam, whose drone videos are cool? At Fran, whose speeches at our different walkouts empowered us to become agents of change? At Varun, whose Instagram stories and drawings brighten our day? Just a second shout out for Fran. She did save me in the Wawa parking lot today, so thank you for that. All this time, our journey was about each other. And thirdly, being grateful. Be grateful for the journey. The third thing you should always do while on this road is to give thanks. I'll do the honors and start. To Coach Iggy, Santa, and Steve, Gerv, Figs, Upshaw, to all of the officers I have ever worked with, to the guidance department, especially Ms. Ritson, to the history department who helped us become more civically engaged, to the math department, we won't make any illegal moves, to the science department, I will never, ever forget that sticky tape lab, to Madam Marshall, Madam Bojan, Senora Molano, Mademoiselle Kotok, and Senora Reyes, to Ms. Patel, Ms. Kim, Ms. Meeker, Mr. Lopez, to Mr. K, Mr. W, Mr. Brennan, to Mr. Milo, to Ms. Grossman, to JoJo, Jeannie, Nancy, to Mr. Charles, to Mr. James, to Ms. Beckford Smith, and Ms. Napoliello. Thank you. Thank you. Unfortunately, we can't pack you all for college, but we don't need to. The greatest thing about the teachers here in Montgomery is that they've nurtured our own built-in teachers. They've taught us how to learn from our own experiences and how to question the world. To my family, sorry. To my family, I'm so sorry, I was not. This is okay. Mami, Papi, Sabrina, Lucia, and Jose Armando, good luck in high school these next 4 years. Jeez. The quadruplets sitting in the stands, Titi Maggi, Abuelo Mero, Abuela Nana, gracias por todo. Los amo. Class of 2019, thank you for letting me serve as your leader. And remember, if Kim Kardashian can be a lawyer, you can do anything. This journey in particular was epic, and the next one that follows will not disappoint. Before closing, I would like to share a quote and give a shout out to my art history class, since Alyssa Shembor so profusely asked. Frank Lloyd Wright, an architect in the prairie style, asks, can you say when your building is complete that the landscape is more beautiful than it was before? Montgomery, you are my home. Class of 2019, you are my family. I would like to say that now that our time here is complete, we have left this landscape more beautiful than it was before. Now, go add your teachers on Facebook, save your MTSD Google Drives, be conscious, be present, be grateful. And I'm stealing this one from you, Gerv. Go change the world one person at a time. Thank you next, and congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the principal of Montgomery High School, Mr. Paul J. Papaduke.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to introduce the salutatorian for the class of 2019, Nikita Goswami. Nikita, please come on up. Hang on to the bowl until I get done talking nice things about you. Okay. By her own admission, Nikita Goswami was nervous when her family moved to Montgomery in 2015. She feared she would forever be alone and out of place. But after much success, a host of creativity, and many meaningful connections, Nikita is very much a part of who we are. Her academic successes are undeniable: 11 honors and 6 AP classes, a near-perfect 1570 on the SAT, and a 99.35 grade point average. However, it is her other contributions to our school community which have proven most valuable in her life. As a member of the National Art Honor Society, Nikita planned and executed an incredibly successful STEAM night. Months of preparation and advertisement manifested in 25 students who combined their love of the arts with their talent in the STEM field. The results were hybrid works of art which featured important elements of both disciplines. As the painting captain of our stage group, she recalls finally the sets of our productions Mamma Mia and Mousetrap, and she's led a group of individuals who would transform well-designed but raw structures into the lifelike items many of you viewed. Unsurprisingly, Nikita has focused for quite some time on blending her love of the art and science in the next phase of her life. As she looks forward to attending, Nikita's collegiate area of focus is on the design of environmentally friendly and sustainable structures, which she will do at the prestigious Syracuse School of Architecture in the fall. Congratulations, Nikita.
To the administration, to the faculty, to our friends and families, and most importantly, to my fellow graduates. In Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark said, "A part of the journey is the end." Today, we've reached the end of our journey, an end that we've been anticipating not only for the past 4 years, but from the first day we set foot in kindergarten, the last day of high school. But it's not like we didn't see this end coming. This past year, we've been saying our goodbyes and experiencing our last moments. Some of these lasts were bittersweet. Maybe it was the last time you competed here in Cougar Stadium, the last time you performed on stage in the MPAC, or even the last time you sat with your friends during unit lunch. And some of these lasts were a long time coming. The last time you had to walk through the rainbow walls of the science hallway, the last time you had to drag yourself out of bed at 6 a.m., or even the last time you got hit by a stray basketball while walking laps in gym. When we first arrived at Montgomery High School as young, clueless freshmen, or in my case, a young, clueless sophomore, we had no idea what our future would hold, what would happen before our last days here. The first time we got lost in these halls, we didn't know whether we would miss them once we left, or that it was even possible for walls to be such an unappealing shade of green. So as we sit here on our last day, it would be remiss not to mention those who carried us from our first days as freshmen up until the very end. We would have to thank the teachers who stuck with us through every class, who were there during free periods or after school, who never gave up on us, no matter how many times we couldn't understand. If we struggled with understanding the integral parts of calculus, they didn't differentiate between those who needed help. We had teachers who introduced us to a wonderful variety of books and stories, despite the fact that most of us wrote our essays based solely on SparkNotes. We had teachers who taught us about events throughout history, but somehow forgot to tell us important things, like the fact that Ben Franklin used to keep dead bodies in his closet, or that Nikita Khrushchev once threw a tantrum because he couldn't go to Disneyland. They taught us everything from the arts to the sciences, important life skills to useless facts and equations, the ability to analyze to the skills behind BSing a presentation. We would have to thank the administration and the counselors, give thanks to the cafeteria and custodial staff who had to deal with us and our messes every single day. Thanks to the gym teachers who taught us both the rules to pickleball and the best songs to perform CPR to. And thanks to the library staff who reminded us to keep quiet in the library by shouting at us every 5 minutes. We would have to thank the family and friends who stayed with us up until our last day. These are the people who stuck around during our lowest points and cheered us through our highest. Thanks to the friends who you could FaceTime almost every week, who you could send random memes to or gush about your favorite TV shows, and who helped edit your graduation speech so you wouldn't look like a complete idiot up on stage. And finally, we would have to thank ourselves. Anyone who thinks the past 4 years were easy is either lying to themselves or peaked in high school. We got through some of the toughest years while also being anxious teenagers full of 5 cups of coffee and 3 hours of sleep. We laughed and we cried, lost friends and gained friends, struggled through school, and somehow finessed our way through school. When we first arrived at MHS, young and clueless as we were, we had no idea where we would end up on our last day. We didn't know what our plans would be, what college we would go to, or even if we would make it through high school. And that's what makes today so special, because today doesn't just mark our last day as high school seniors, it marks our first day as high school graduates, our first day being, once again, young, clueless, and with no idea what our future holds for us. We're on to better things, whether it's going to college, starting employment, or getting involved in a pyramid scheme. Just as it's our first day, someday it will be our last day, 4 years, 5 years, or a whole lifetime from now. So enjoy the end, because it really is only the beginning. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2019, Ivan Chow. Looking sharp. Hold the ball till I'm done, then put it down and talk. There's a philosophy in which Ivan Chow believes, which is completely connected to and keeping with computer science. Any problem presents an opportunity to find a solution. In his career at Montgomery High School, there have been few problems he has not been able to solve. He graduates with a 99.59 GPA. He took 8 honors and 7 AP courses, and he attended a Princeton University computer science class as a senior, and that is in addition to scoring a perfect 36 on the ACT. In April of 2017, Ivan founded what has become an annual event in Montgomery called Monty Hacks, a 24-hour competition where students work on projects using the powers of computer science. This year, he was captain of our Science Olympiad team, which placed in the top 3 in the state of New Jersey for the 4th consecutive year. He also branched out from our campus to campuses of others. Ivan received 2 internships at Bloomberg, working with their data technology team, focusing on analyzing and improving internal data and workflow. He also twice won scholarships to Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference in San Jose, where he's able to interface with the newest technology will be available in the coming years. Ivan will be attending Columbia University in the fall. Congratulations, Ivan. It's all you.
$907,200. Class of 2019, it has been an honor to share 907,200 minutes with all of you. We collectively have spent almost 70% of that time listening to teachers talk, so for all our wonderful faculty in the room, here's what it's like to be on the other end of the stick. From our first minutes in this district, we entered as kids, running around, exploring, learning, and asking questions. Slowly but surely, we developed the fundamental skills we still use today: reading, writing, and the words to mi mochila. Through high school, we searched for our true passions. With much guidance, we were shaped into track stars, writers, artists, hackers, scientists, musicians, and mentors of tomorrow. Together, we both struggled and excelled through challenging curriculum, everything from Ms. Kim's English to AP Physics C, blooming our interests and inspiring us to trek far beyond the classroom. Finding strength in our talented classmates and knowledgeable faculty, coupled with great resources online, Spark Notes, we found success and felt inspired to bring impact to our community and the world. We showed our academic prowess by continuing legacies and beginning new ones. Our academic league and science Olympiad teams have consistently placed among the best in the state. We are home to the best TSA team science team in the world, a club that started just 2 years ago. With our initiative, events like Monty Hacks, Jumpstart Expo, Man of the Year, Montgomery's Got Talent, and more have become ingrained in the Montgomery brand. And yes, we even have our own student app. We also brought success on the courts and the fields. Our track team set records in events like the high jump and relays year after year. Our boys tennis team began a dynasty with a coveted three-peat of state TOC titles. And we brought amazing state titles year after year in fencing, lacrosse, and golf. And let's not forget that the Montgomery Ultimate Frisbee team came 7th in the state. Yeah. Behind all these achievements was, of course, the grind, incredible work ethic, attention to detail upon hours and hours of iteration, and an innate pursuit to strive for nothing less but excellence. But beyond this was an application of skills we've had since our first minutes of high school. Unique to the class of 2019 and our generation, our success is fueled not only by our maturity, commitment, and focus marked by our transition into adulthood, but a unique dichotomy of those traits with the enthusiastic, explorative, and lighthearted attitude of childhood. You could tell because in class, we don't bite our tongues. We treat teachers like our friends, and we put memes in our final presentations. We are often told to be one or the other, But to the class of 2019, I ask you this: why not both? Live in the balance and hold on to being a kid for as long as you can. Doing so will allow you to dream bigger and enjoy more of what you do. Live simply. Find the things that make you happy, make time for them, spend time on them, and then hold on to them. Worry less, ask questions, break rules, open concepts. Be genuine, tell the truth, and believe in others. Be open and choose to explore, and don't let anyone stop you from doing so. As Dr. Fishman says, don't take my word for it. Keep on dreaming, and then become the architect of those very dreams. And if and when you are knocked down, dust yourself off and learn from it. Ice cream always helps. These are the mantras we've learned since our kindergarten days, but they're the most important now, more than ever, going to the next chapter of our lives. A lot of us might think our next steps are the most daunting or challenging yet, but think of them as your playground. Use the skills you already know you have, and success will find you naturally in different shapes and forms. As graduates from Montgomery, I know you have beyond what it takes, and being here proves it. Before I end my speech, I'd like to give out some thank yous. Thank you first to my parents for endless support in dealing with my insanely crazy sleep schedules. I love you. I know I always make mistakes, but I appreciate your forgiveness, your honesty, and your understanding. Thank you to my sister Caitlin for keeping me company on the way back home, spilling all the tea possible, and showing me the next viral dance move even though I cannot dance. Thank you, Sahana Kanan, for making me smile on the roughest days and bringing my fashion sense from 0 to slightly tolerable. Thank you, Brendan Ho, for being my right-hand man and for your enlightening sermons during unit lunch. Thank you to Mr. Ram Balusu for teaching one of the greatest AP chemistry classes ever. College chemistry will not hold a candle to the protons. You are the primary example of everything a teacher should be, and I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've left them. Thank you to Mr. Pachuta. You're the man. Thank you for all of the support. I now think I have the running record for the most time spent in your office, but for a good reason. Lastly, thank you, all of you in those seats, because I wouldn't nearly be the person I was without you here. Our age of social media has made it easier than ever to connect, and I urge you all to keep in touch with everyone, just in case they happen to host a food tasting party. Rahul. Lastly, thank you to all the staff and faculty of Montgomery. You are truly what makes Montgomery great. You inspire, motivate, and compel us to take it to the next level, and we will miss seeing you every day in the halls. Finally, whether you're from Hootsboot, Gumstick, whether you'll become a bee, lion, Quaker, husky, or knightless next year, let the cougar spirit live forever in your hearts. Yes, tigers too. Randy Pausch once said in his last lecture, "Time is all you have, and you may find one day that you have less than you think." So, class of 2019, I propose a toast. Here's to 907,200 minutes well spent and more to come. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to announce the members of the class of 2019 who are graduating with honors. This means that these students are in the top 10% of their graduating class. I would ask that each student stands when his or her name is called. Also, I ask that the student's parents or guardians stand, since they clearly deserve a significant portion of the credit for this accomplishment. Please hold your applause until all the names have been called. Jennifer Adams, Anish Atri, Gabrielle Baldovino, Megan Bolt, Ivan Chow, Daniel Chen, Justin Chung, Nikita Goswami, Abenitha Gora Tabina, Joshua Guo, Abigail Halder, Grace He, Nathan He, Nicholas Ayati, Ananya Iyengar, Larissa Jimenez Cadajo, Michelle Key, Christina Malinowski, Philip Meng, Jeffrey Miller, Priyanka Nadkarni, Samuel Knowles, Sarah O'Shea, Savin Patel, Maya Patel, Ardaush Rao, Gray Ricka, Ian Riggs, Sanayakita Sagaraji, Ria Shavastava, Vidya Saleh, Nivenditha Sivakumar, Karthik Subramanian, Jenna Sudal, Alex Tai, May Tu, Siddhartha Vadaparty, Andy Wang, Melody Wang, David Young, Justin Zoe. Let's please applause those graduating with honors from the class of 2019.
Good evening, members of the board, honored guests, faculty, parents, and friends. Members of the class of 2019, tonight is the culmination of 4 years of hard work, dedication, perseverance, successes, and experiences of your high school careers. You have left your mark on Montgomery, forever holding a place in its history. We have academic scholars and scholarship winners, athletic record holders and state champions, gifted speakers and social activists, co-curricular award recipients, and award-winning artists and musicians. I have enjoyed watching you grow and making Montgomery High School a better place. When constructing this speech, I tried to find some advice that would be useful to you as you start the next chapter of life's journey. A couple of words, stories, and thoughts that would focus you on a successful future. With that in mind, I've come up with 2 pieces of advice to take with you. First, be resilient. In April, I attended a professional conference where the keynote speaker was talking about the top 5 traits colleges are looking for in a high school student. The number 1 trait they're looking for is resilience. They said this trait will best define a student's success. As I thought about why so many kids today lack resilience, I looked back to my own childhood and noticed many differences in how I grew up and how kids grow up today, my own children included. I remember coming home from school and just going outside to play. I walked blocks, crossing roads, railroad tracks to get to a park where I played basketball. I remember playing with kids younger and older and getting into disputes with both of them. I remember some of the older kids making fun of me for one thing or another. But I don't recall my parents ever getting in the middle of any of it. One day, my parents heard me complaining about 2 boys from the park. My father jumped in the conversation and stated I need to learn how to deal with it. So I did. I also don't recall my parents being overly involved with my academic or athletic affairs. When I was struggling in a particular subject with a particular teacher, I was told to go to the teacher and figure it out. If I complained that the teacher was mean, my father told me it was my fault. I remember expressing a situation which clearly the teacher was in the wrong and at fault to my father. He looked at me and he said, "Sometimes in life you will be right and you'll do everything right and bad things will still happen to you. You need to suck it up and deal with it because life isn't always fair. It's how you deal with the unfairness that will set you apart and either make or break you." I also clearly remember complaining about sitting the bench for a particular coach, stating that he didn't like me, he didn't know what he was doing. My dad looked at me and said, "Maybe you need to work harder. Maybe you're not as good as you think." Some may call that old school parenting or tough love. Some might call it building resilience. You see, back when I was a kid, high school was a testing ground for life, learning to be an adult without being under the helicoptering supervision of my parents. My worry for you is that today, that testing ground has shifted to college. When you go away, your parents will be unable to push all the obstacles out of your way, and you'll be forced to handle them yourselves, developing your resilience along the way. The good news is that we can all train ourselves to be more resilient. We need to better regulate our perceptions and our emotions. People can create or exaggerate stressors very easily in their own minds. That's the danger of being human. We are all more than capable of worrying and overthinking a situation. We can take a minor incident, blow it up in our heads, think about it over and over, and drive ourselves crazy until we feel like that minor thing is the biggest thing that ever happened. Looking back, I can find many examples of things that at the time seemed like really big issues. But in reality, they weren't that big of a deal. My response to those situations was the difference between moving forward or turning them into self-fulfilling prophecy. So next year, when you find yourself up against that immovable obstacle, take a step back, remind yourself that you can deal with it, and remember that the problem is not permanent, and it's not the end of the world. Learn from your setbacks and mistakes, be resilient, and move on. My second piece of advice for you all is to be empathetic. Empathy involves identifying with what someone is feeling and actually feeling those feelings yourself. Research shows the ability to empathize with our kids helps their health, wealth, authentic happiness, relationship satisfaction, and ability to bounce back from adversity. It promotes kindness, pro-social behaviors, moral courage, and it is an effective antidote to bullying, aggression, prejudice, and racism. With that, I'd like to share two brief stories with you. The first is about a farmer who had some puppies he needed to sell. He painted a sign advertising the 4 pups, and he set about nailing it to a post at the edge of his yard. As he was driving the last nail into his post, he felt a tug on his overalls. He looked down in the eyes of a little boy. "Mister, I want to buy one of those puppies." "Well," said the farmer as he rubbed the sweat off the back of his neck, "these puppies come from fine parents and cost a good deal of money." The boy dropped his head for a moment, then reaching deep into his pocket, he pulled out a handful of change, held it up to the farmer and said, "I've got 39 cents. Will that be enough to take a look?" The farmer smiled and he said, "Sure." He let out a whistle. "Here, Dolly," he called. And out from the doghouse and down the ramp ran Dolly, followed by 4 little balls of fur. The little boy pressed his face against the chain-link fence. His eyes danced with delight. As the dogs made their way to the fence, the little boy noticed something else stirring just inside the doghouse. Slowly, another little ball appeared, this one noticeably smaller. Down the ramp it slid. Then, in a somewhat awkward manner, the littlest pup began hobbling toward the others, doing its best to catch up. "I want that one," the little boy said, pointing to the runt. The farmer knelt down at the boy's side and said, "Son, you don't want that puppy. He'll never be able to run and play with you like the other dogs would." With that, the little boy stepped back from the fence, and he reached down and began pulling up one leg of his pants. In doing so, he revealed a steel brace running down both sides of his leg, attaching itself to a specially made shoe. Looking back up at the farmer, he said, "You see, sir, I don't run too well myself, and he'll need someone who understands." With tears in his eyes, the farmer reached down, picked up the little puppy, and gave it to the young boy. My second story dates back to when I was a kid. My mom would always make some sort of bread to serve to my dad during dinner. I remember one night in particular when she had cooked dinner after a long, hard day of work. On that evening, many years ago, my mom placed a plate of chicken, mashed potatoes, and extremely burnt biscuits in front of my dad. I remember waiting to see if Dad, who was really particular about things, would freak. All my dad did was reach down, he grabbed the biscuit, smiled at my mom, and asked me how my day was at school. I don't remember what I told him that night, but I do remember watching him smear butter and jelly all over that ugly, rock-hard, burnt biscuit. He ate every bite of that thing, never made a face, nor uttered a word about it. When I got up from the table that evening, I remembered hearing my mom apologize to my dad for burning the biscuits, and I'll never forget what he said. "Honey, I love burnt biscuits every now and then." Later that night, I went to say goodnight to my dad, and I asked him if he really liked his biscuits burnt. Took me on his lap, and he said, "Your mom put in a hard day's work today. She then cleaned our house, she washed our clothes, and she's real tired. And besides, a little burnt biscuit never hurts anyone." As I've grown older, I've thought about that many times. Life is full of imperfect things and imperfect people. I'm not the best at hardly anything. I forget birthdays and make mistakes like everyone else. But what I've learned over the years is that learning to accept each other's faults and choosing to celebrate each other's differences is one of the most important keys to creating a healthy, growing, and lasting relationship. And that's my prayer for you today, that you'll learn to take the difficulties, the struggles, the ugly parts of your life, lay them aside, and appreciate the good that others have to offer. Understanding is the base of any relationship, be it husband and wife, a parent-child, or a friendship. Always remember to be kinder than necessary, because everyone you meet is fighting some kind of a battle. Over the past few decades, our capacity to care has plummeted, while self-absorption has skyrocketed. Having empathy for others in a world that has become more and more centered around the me rather than the me is paramount. Empathy is the core to everything that makes society civilized, but above all, it makes us better people. So class of 2019, I wish you all the luck in your future endeavors. May your journeys be filled with optimism, passion, and joy. And as you ride the great roller coaster of life, remember to be resilient and show empathy to others. Thank you. At this time, if you are a parent of a graduating senior, I'd like you to please stand. I'd like the class of 2019 to recognize your parents for all the love, support, and guidance they've given throughout the school year. Thank you. I am deeply honored to certify to the Superintendent of Schools and to the Board of Education that the class of 2019 has successfully completed and met all the requirements of the faculty, the Board of Education, and the state of New Jersey for graduation and are entitled to receive their diplomas. Mrs. McLaughlin, it is with a great deal of pleasure that I present to you the class of 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Papaduke. I accept certification for the class of 2019. I would like to extend congratulations to the graduates, their parents, friends, and all who have contributed to their growth and success. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will begin the presentation of the diplomas. The calling of the graduates' names will be done by the class advisors, Mr. Figueroa and Mr. Upshaw.
Ivan Chow, valedictorian.
Nikita Goswami, salutatorian.
Larissa Jimenez Gratero, class president.
Catherine Yoon, class vice president.
Kristen Lorenzi, secretary.
Andrew Tuckman, treasurer.
Christine Cirillo, historian.
Gabriella Lupo, student council president.
Myra Khan, student council media.
Annalyn St. Ledger, Board of Ed representative.
Youssef Abdul Rahman.
Alessandro Marna.
Zena Abdul Rahman.
William Maripodi.
Amelia Abrahamson.
Lena Mahurit.
Jennifer Adams.
Carolyn Meslenka.
Emma Augustino.
Keisai Matsumoto.
Manor Ahmed,
Colin McCaffrey,
Yuban An,
Stephen McCormick,
Maeve Anderson,
Isabella McKay,
Quinn Androsco,
Stephen McKechnie,
Gracious Anithanim,
Michael McKenna,
Jillian Ark,
Ryan McKenna,
Ryan Aru,
Dara McNally,
Rithika Athreya,
Alexandra Mednikova,
Anish Athri,
Justin Meneses,
Liliana Asquidiaz,
Philip Meng,
Jacob Bagza,
Sarah Merwin,
Gabrielle Baldovino,
Michael Milano,
Gabriella Barish,
Vivian Milich,
Maria Barrera,
Jeffrey Miller,
Aubriana Barrett,
Nicholas Millett,
Nicole Baylock,
Andrew Menard,
Matthew Belbin,
Cameron Murrider,
Anthony Bellavia,
Avi Mohan,
Caroline Beschner,
Ryan Molnar,
Nihal Barath,
Victoria Mondello,
Mariah Blitz,
Christian Molheisen,
Megan Bolt,
Surya Murthy,
Genevieve Bouchonville,
Carla Musto,
Rose Bremner,
Priyanka Nadkarni,
Rebecca Bryant,
Raul Nandakumar,
Nicholas Brown,
Samuel Knowles,
Matthias Bueno,
Matthew O'Brien,
Julian Burke,
Anna O'Farrell,
Hamad Butt,
Caitlin O'Neill,
Jack Callan,
Sarah O'Shea,
Stephanie Canavan,
Miki Oba,
Catherine Tsao,
Marvelous Anakoya,
Joy Kayao,
Caitlin Ostrowski,
Amanda Cashman,
Zoe Uzilu,
Sophia Kassar,
Daniel Pace,
Ria Chavan,
Varun Palat,
Daniel Chen,
Yatharth Pandey,
Jenny Chen,
Ginny Pang,
Spencer Chen,
Jonathan Pang,
Stephanie Chen,
Parin Panji,
Aikya Chura,
Lauren Paris,
Justin Cho,
William Park,
Justin Chung,
Alyssa Pastor,
Elizabeth Church,
Praharshita Pasumarthi,
Spencer Sifradelli,
Vineet Pasumarthi,
Ethan Colby Watanik,
Maya Patel,
Elizabeth Cunningham,
Rihanna Patel,
Andrew Davino,
Ria Aisha Patel,
Romita Das,
Savin Patel,
Catherine Dower,
Joshua Pereira,
Nina De La Perouse,
Trisha Pimenta,
Camden DeSanctis,
Vaishnavi Pitta,
Derek Decker,
Lee Poirier,
Kylie Diedrich,
Jeffrey Poon,
Meredith Delaney,
Rohan Prakash,
Cordelia Dang,
Luciano Procaccini,
Tommy Denlinger,
Kyla Prescott,
Rachel Dentler.
Dino Quattrochi.
Avi Desai.
Brianne Quinlan.
Lance DeSantis.
Emma Ricaro.
Jimmy Devine.
Rohan Rahalkar.
John Devine.
Arnav Rai.
Brenda Dewan.
Abhiud Rajput.
Nicholas Delorio.
Trisha Raju.
Jesse DeMeglio.
Sean Rampersad.
Mahir Doshi.
Adarsh Rao.
Malia Drift.
Madhumita Rao.
Ellen Dubs.
Disha Ravakumar.
Soham Dutta.
Ridvik Reddy.
Christina L. Ghazali.
Brooke Regensberg.
Joseph Eliconi.
Jacob Wrighton.
Adam Espejo.
Gray Ricka.
Aaron Fan.
Haley Ridosh.
Tori Ferriolo.
Ian Riggs.
Lane Fisher.
Sanai Riley.
Otto Fisher IV.
Santi Riley.
Sarah Florentine.
Haley Roberti.
Emma Fogarty.
Alyssa Robinson.
Francesca Fogg.
Carrie Rochette.
Stephanie Franz.
Vincent Rodrigo.
Shane Frieda.
Mariana Romuado.
Derek Frisch.
Justin Rosario.
Kevin Fromelt.
Matthew Ruckelhouse.
Nathan Gale.
Nicole Ruckelhouse.
Louis Gall.
Mirabella Russo.
Joseph Gaddioso.
Sophia Russo.
Jasmine Goebbels.
Kristen Sabinski.
Burton George.
Pranav Sabu.
Walter Geslack.
Benjamin Saki.
Corey Chow.
Sainakitha Sekaraji.
Sean Glennon.
Upeka Samarasekara.
Meghna Gohill.
Ananya Sampath.
Jared Golubitsky.
Ananya Sankar.
Sarah Gomez.
Alyssa Shembor.
Nathan Gong.
Adam Schneider.
Samantha Gottlieb.
Emma Schweitzer.
Divyansh Gore.
Grace Sider.
Abanitha Gorabathina.
Kamalidi Semgutka.
Riley Green.
Alina Shah.
Jordan Grunfeld.
Mahir Shah.
Katerina Guevara.
Mira Shamier.
Joshua Guo.
Praful Sharma.
Aman Gupta.
Kevin Shen.
Arpan Gupta.
Michael Shen.
Joshua Hagan.
Evelyn Shang.
Abigail Halder.
Ria Shrivastava.
Rahul Harikrishnan.
Vidya Silai.
Omar Hassanin.
Andre Silvestre.
Annie Hathaway.
Sukhbir Singh.
Charles Hayes.
Mary Sisler.
Shivani Hazarika.
Niveditha Sivakumar.
Ahmad Hazah.
Jason Sluter.
Grace He.
Jesse Smyers.
Nathan He,
Katia Smith,
Colleen Hennessy,
Veronica Snell,
Benjamin Huback,
Logan Solomon,
Justin Hirsch,
Matthew Sonner,
Brendan Ho,
Zofia Sperano,
Abigail Holanda,
Shreya Srinivasan,
Brian Hong,
Trevor St. Mauro,
James Hopper,
Alexander Stabinski,
Kyle Howard,
Cassandra Stathis,
Menji Hu,
Alexander Straub,
Liyun Huang,
Naya Strozer,
James Hughes,
Karthik Subramanyan,
Trevor Hunsbed,
Jenna Soodle,
Nicholas Ayati,
Alan Swen,
Harrison Imran,
Kirti Sundaram,
Jacob Irving,
Serena Swain,
Matthew Irving,
Philip Skudlarski,
Ananya Iyengar,
Fawaz Tahir,
Abiyan Jakashin,
Sal Tahir,
Julia Jacklick,
Alex Ty,
Janez James,
Kaushik Tare,
Christopher Jimenez,
Michael Tarquinio,
Madeline Jin,
Mark Totoli,
Kara Johnson,
Andrew Taylor,
Samaria Jones,
Anna Rose Taylor,
Arnav Joshi,
AJ Thayaparan,
Vidit Kabra,
May 2,
Samrita Kamkolkar,
Zainab Tajani,
Ashley Kang,
Zoha Termizi,
Akshara Khanan,
Shrees Tarumalai,
Nivditha Khanan,
Alana Tolliver,
Sahana Khanan,
Jack Tonra,
Aryan Karakoti,
Megan Sai,
Maria Kartsonis,
Ashley Turlip,
Julia Kazmirchak,
Ryan Turner,
Michelle Key,
Siddhartha Vadaparde,
Garrett Keating,
Rohit Vadodaria,
Carly Karad,
Jennifer Van Hook,
Meghana Karidi,
Sophia Van Mall,
Alex Kibbe,
Arushi Varshney,
Shiwan Kim,
Nandita Vasanta,
Grigory Kiryanov,
Tushira Venkatayogi,
Amelia Kanair,
Vani Verma,
Jason Knight,
Alexander Voronsky,
Emily Cole,
Alejandro Villaverde,
Emily Kotler,
Daniel Vogel,
Elias Kragseth,
Natalia Vonnerberg,
Chloe Krutansky,
Timothy Walker,
Akanksha Kuchan,
Chili Wallace,
Ann Cutterly,
Frederick Walter,
Sarah Ladem,
Andy Wang,
Philip LaCava,
Evan Wang,
Nicholas Lapuerta,
Melody Wang,
Hannah Lee,
Jessica Warnes,
Phoebe Layton,
Evan White,
Joe Leonardis,
Kyle Wiersbicki,
Josh Levine,
Kieran Williams,
Kyle Lee,
Sarah Wilson,
Rachel Lee.
Remy Weisblot.
Ivan Lin.
Andrew Shah.
Kevin Liu.
James Yang.
Christiane Liu.
Victor Yang.
Tom Lafredo.
Jessica Yanovich.
AJ Lokesh.
James Yim.
Haley Lombardo.
David Young.
Nicholas Losa.
Andrew Youngberg.
Jessica Lubitz.
Matthew Youngberg.
Gemma Lumsden.
Richard Urcision.
James Ma.
Eric Zhang.
Matthew Machado.
Andrew Zai.
Anirudh Madali.
Caitlin Zhang.
Alexandra Maddie.
Karina Zhang.
Christopher Magliochetti.
Eric Zhao.
Christina Malinowski.
Justin Zhao.
Ann Mansilla.
Max Zoe.
Abigail March.
Morgan Zisman.
As in tradition, at this time, I ask the Montgomery High School faculty to please exit to the track to form a processional line as a final farewell to our graduates. At this time, I invite the class president to lead the class of 2019 in the turning of the tassels. Ladies and gentlemen, the Montgomery High School class of 2019.